President Donald Trump has shown several signs that he wants to send a second round of stimulus checks to Americans. 4 Republican senators wanted to skip Memorial Day recess so they can work on an additional round of stimulus money for Americans now. In this video, I will tell you, based off of what all of these Republican public officials are saying, whether I think we can expect an additional round of stimulus checks. In one of my recent videos, I was probably the only person on YouTube to tell you that 2 senior White House officials told CNBC exclusively that out of all the plans in the HEROES bill, the White House, the Trump administration, was most likely favoring sending direct payments to Americans. Additionally, CNBC reported that the Treasury planned to originally package a second round of stimulus checks. Nonetheless, Congress failed to appropriate funds for those stimulus checks before sending the bill off to the president. Now, I was at first baffled as to why the administration would only send that announcement to one network, especially when you see how much he carefully gauges the amount of publicity that everything he says generates. It's all about the headlines. Then I noticed that in early May, CNBC jointly released a study with Change Research that found that a whopping 74% of voters in battleground states wanted direct, recurrent payments. CNBC is the most watched business news network. Investors that are constantly pumping money into the stock market are always glued to the tube when CNBC's on, even when they're selling the new space age blender that'll make you a smoothie out of a moon rock. One sip and you have enough strength to overcome the Earth's gravitational pull and jump over a skyscraper with a single bound. Ohio, Michigan, Pennsylvania. That's why during presidential elections, you exclusively see presidential candidates campaign in these states. They never go to New York because Democrats, they already know they have New York and Cali in the bag. Those are blue states. And Republicans already know that they'll win Texas and Alabama. So they have to win these swing states in order to win a presidential election. President Trump had to tell CNBC something, okay? I think he figured that he could tell CNBC geeks like me that, listen, don't worry about it. I got you on another round of stimulus checks. Keep pumping money into the stock market because that's the metric that I need to tell people, listen, my administration is off the hook. It's doing great. Explosive economy, explosive numbers for 2021. Once we get the country back on track, once we reopen everything, and that could improve his chances of getting reelected and actually enjoying the proposed success, the forecasted success that he's talking about right now, while everybody else who puts CNBC on quarantine, they keep social distancing with CNBC because they get a migraine every single time they see all those financial stats stream across the screen. Wait until they hear the news that the Trump administration is supporting direct payments on other networks. He will have had enough time for the administration to actually pass something in the near future. Look, we're already in June, so they're just stalling, as I had said on previous videos. The White House even put that announcement out at 7:30 at night. Not even people who watch CNBC during trading hours are watching CNBC at that hour. They're probably on TNT watching a Black Panther rerun. That's the Jim Cramer, Shark Tank, Mark Cuban, Mark Lemonis posse hour. What makes this news promising is that Republicans are promoting their own plans for additional stimulus. Listen, the following senators are not blatantly drumming up support for direct payments. Nonetheless, they are listing measures that they can include in the HEROES Act or another bill that comes packaged with direct payments plus Republican proposals. Missouri Republican Senator Josh Hawley told The Hill that he wanted to slash the unemployment rate as fast as possible. Senator Hawley said, and I quote, "I have made no secret about it. I think that we need to act sooner rather than later on employment. On employment, I'd like to see us do something now." The youngest lawmaker in the Senate wants the federal government to reimburse businesses for 80% of workers' wages, capped at $50,000. This is a good sign because Senator Hawley is real tight with the top dogs at the executive and legislative branches, the president and the majority Senate leader, who have ultimately the most say as to what the next stimulus package will become. When Josh Hawley was running for the U.S. Senate, President Donald Trump endorsed and campaigned for Hawley. Furthermore, Senator Hawley in January introduced a resolution co-sponsored by 10 GOP senators to dismiss all impeachment charges when Nancy Pelosi was delaying submitting the articles of impeachment to the Senate. President Trump even publicly praised the senator's efforts to help secure the acquittal of the chief executive. Trump said the following in a January address, and I quote, "One of the greatest supporters on this impeachment hoax was Josh Hawley. He was incensed, actually." Again, we already know that Trump is backing direct payments to Americans. So why wouldn't the president's 40-year-old golden boy support this Jamaica Queens tycoon? Mitch McConnell co-hosted a dinner to support Hawley's campaign back in 2017. The Kansas City Star reported that over a dozen Republicans held lunches, dinners, and other events to raise money for Josh Hawley's campaign. Josh Hawley eventually unseated incumbent Democrat Claire McCaskill with a 54.1% vote. Now, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell told Fox News that he and the rest of Republican senators would support and vote for anything that the White House wants. So if the White House wants direct payments to Americans, so do Republican senators. That's important because Republicans control the Senate. The Senate has to pass any bill that gets sent to the president for his John Hancock. Republican Senator Cory Gardner from Colorado has partnered with Josh Hawley to work on his paycheck guarantee plan. And the Colorado senator tweeted that the Senate should forget about the 10-day vacation and work on the next stimulus bill. He tweeted, and I quote, "It's unfathomable that the Senate is set to go on recess without considering any additional COVID-19 assistance for the American people. Anyone who thinks now is the time to go on recess hasn't been listening. Coloradans and Americans alike have sacrificed and are hurting." Senator Gardner even threatened to block the recess so the Senate could stay in Washington and work on extension of benefits of the Paycheck Protection Program. The Paycheck Protection Program Flexibility Act would allow businesses to use PPP funds for a 24-week period as opposed to the current 8-week mandate. The bill would also allow entrepreneurs to use more than 25% of the money for non-payroll expenses. Now, Senator Gardner endorsed Donald Trump for president in 2016 and now in 2020. He has voted with the president 90% of the time. Do you think this is going to make up part of the 10% of the time he voted against the president, especially with all these people demanding direct economic impact payments? Second round. Republican Senator from Maine, Susan Collins, introduced the bill to send more money to state governments. She passionately spoke on the Senate floor to urge the Senate to work on more stimulus relief now. Senator Collins is a centrist or moderate Republican, meaning that she sometimes takes up Democrat positions. Under the Obama administration, she actually voted with President Barack Obama 75% of the time in 2013. She is one of only 2 Republicans that have voted with President Barack Obama more than 70% of the time. Senator Collins even voted to acquit President Bill Clinton during his impeachment trial. And finally, Republican Senator from Mississippi, Roger Wicker, told The Hill that legislators should not wait too long to pass the next stimulus bill. "I think June doesn't need to come and go without a phase 4, Senator Wicker said. Now, ladies and gentlemen, how does this come all together? Question mark. Senator McConnell has gone on a press tour demanding business liability protections on the next stimulus bill. The proposal will strip an employee of the right to file a lawsuit against an employer if the worker got sick after returning to work. Senator McConnell stated that business liability protections are his red line. We all know the White House's red line: payroll tax cuts, capital gains tax cuts. You know what the beauty of everything is? Just last week, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi told CBS that in regards to additional stimulus, she has no red lines. So I think, now this is just my opinion, that both Republicans and Democrats pre-negotiated the $1,200 direct payments to Americans, the second round of stimulus checks that you see in the HEROES bill. Republicans must have been like, it's a no-brainer. The White House likes it, swing state voters like it, Republican voters like it. So they told Nancy, listen, you got the $1,200 direct payments to Americans. You got that. More stimulus checks. Fluff up the bill with everything else you want. Everything in your heart's desire. We'll call it a liberal wish list. That'll allow us to buy some time. We can see what CARES 1 money is doing. We'll see how the economy recovers. We see if we could snuff the urge for more stimulus money as people start selling things again, while we start trimming the fat and presenting our own versions of what will be on the next stimulus package. And if you notice, that's exactly what's happening. Susan Collins, she introduced the SMART Act, and it's basically a less expensive request for more money for states, just like what you see in the HEROES bill. So again, the Republicans, they said yes, I believe they said yes to the $1,200 direct payments to Americans. At least another round. Nonetheless, they told Nancy Pelosi, allow us to save face by not forcing our hand to strike down a $2,000 a month recurring payment that will never happen on the face of this earth during this administration. Nancy Pelosi must have been like, Republicans already said yes to the $1,200 direct payments. A bird in hand is better than two in the bush. It is far better for me to have on my portfolio that I secured millions of stimulus checks for Americans as opposed to me saying, I tried my best, but I got you nothing. Bottom line, more stimulus checks, I believe, are coming, at least another round. But we will have to probably wait until the summer, at the very least. But perhaps it'll be something, they are distributing debit cards to get money out as quickly as possible, if that becomes the case. So they'll probably try to get as much money out on another stimulus check so you could blow it on July 4th. That was the federal government's rationale behind rushing everybody to open businesses up by Memorial Day. They even hiked up the prices of meat that you're going to throw on the grill. So let me know what you think. Whether you think I'm crazy and completely wrong, or you think that there is hope for an additional round of stimulus. Go ahead and leave your responses in the comment section below. Watch this video right here for more stimulus coverage. Click the like button if you like the video. Click the subscribe button to stay on top of all of my findings. I will do my best to report what other people won't. Talk soon.